Okay, good to see everybody. Appreciate you being here. Seems like we just were together. Hasn't been long, and but it's been a lot of work between last night, yesterday's game, and today's walkthrough. So, getting to work on Miami, they played an excellent game against the Falcons in Atlanta. A very physical brand of football, both sides of the ball, and came up with a big victory. So, studying that game and the other games too from before, and so we know it's going to be a big challenge down there. We've been down there before. We've been down there on Thursday night before, and we know how it is. So we'll have to do everything we can do to get ready and be ready on a short turnaround. That's what we're working on. As far as the game, watching the tape, felt like it was very similar to what we saw and talked about after the game. Thought the play callers in all three phases did a great job. Really proud of those guys. The game plans were excellent, and then the execution was really good, and the physicality was excellent. So that's at the end of the day that, and the fact we protected the football and got a turnover, that's a big change from previous. So it's probably the number one thing that happened. I thought our defense really rose up in the red zone a couple times in a big way, 3 times in a big way. So those are the big factors. But with that's behind us now, and we're on to Miami. We've got a lot of work to do in a short period of time. So what questions do you have?
John, Kyle Huntley was talking a little bit about the conversation you guys had over the summer, and he talked about how much it meant to him and everything. What do you remember about that conversation? And he also said relationships are forever. Kind of, what was the context behind that?
Yeah, it was just, I think, he called. He texted, "Can we talk?" I called him back, and it was just great to talk to him. And he was working out, and I think this whole thing, this whole NFL thing, it's probably like a lot of things, but man, you're at the center, kind of the epicenter of a lot of attention and a lot of really challenging things, and everybody's worked so hard to achieve so much. Guys like Tyler Huntley go through so much throughout their whole career, all the way since they're a kid, to play in the National Football League. Or coaches are the same, and because of that, you're in these battles and fights together, and you walk together, and the relationships are built, and they do last forever, and you have those moments that live on. And so someone calls you or texts you, or you talk about it, man, you're like right back in that moment. You know how it is with your friends too. You're right back in that moment, and you haven't forgotten. It's like you're there, like it was a year ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or some of my old friends 40 years ago. I think I laugh more with those guys than anybody nowadays. But I think that's it. And then for it to work out the way it did was definitely a God thing, and a thing that to see it kind of come full circle yesterday was very meaningful.
John, do you have a better sense of Lamar's status after today? I know today's just a walkthrough.
Yeah, no, I feel very confident. Feel very confident about it, and would expect him to be out there Thursday night.
Coach, going back just for clarity, trying to clarify everything from the other day, where it came out Saturday that he wasn't going to play. Was that something that caught you by surprise? And why not just hold back that information until 90 minutes before kickoff?
Yeah, well, we talked about that last night a little bit, but no, when it became apparent that he wasn't, when I knew he wasn't going to play for sure, we just declared him out. That's what we did. We were hopeful. Maybe there was a chance. I probably would say it was probably an outside chance, but I was still had my fingers crossed. And then it was came down from that side. And I say that side, I mean the player and the medical side. That's how it works. And so he was out.
John, have you been in touch with the league, and do you anticipate any punishment from the league regarding this change?
Yeah, no, I haven't been. I don't talk to the league about that, and I think we put a statement out about that and how it works, and that's all I know.
John, so you don't anticipate to talk that they'll reach out to you, or?
I have no idea.
Okay.
John, there was an NFL.com report that Lamar played scout team reps on Friday.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, I think I said that last night in the press conference.
And so, is there a function of that kind of helps his ramp up process? I mean, was that the thought in giving him that role?
I think that was part of the thought. Sure, it was obviously 2 tracks there. If he turns out that he can play, he's got those reps in, full speed reps, and if not, it's part of the ramp up for Thursday night.
Good, Caleb.
Williams' impression?
Yeah.
Nate Wiggins said that he felt like he's really matured over the last year and that he's playing at the top of his game. How fun has it been for you to watch just his confidence grow from year 1 to year 2 and take on such big assignments?
It's been great. I tell you, he's a joy to coach. He just is into it, man. He just everything you say to him, he's all ears. He wants to do the right thing. You know, I joke with the DBs because they get more text from me, video text from me than anybody, and he gets as many as anybody. He always is right back, you know, with his thoughts on it, and it's just fun because it does show up in the way he plays. And he'll be the first to tell you there's plenty of things in that game he can do better and wants to chase perfection. But he's a student of the game, man. He's a student of the game. He works really hard at it, and to see it pay off with a big play like that in a critical moment, you know, that's what guys dream about. That's what coaches dream about. So it was a great moment.
John, how is Lamar though look? I mean, with the hamstring injury, obviously it can affect the guy's mobility. How has he looked in even today's walkthrough?
Yeah, I mean, he looked good in the walkthrough. He looked like it was a great walkthrough for him. He looked excellent. He did. He looked great.
John, one thing that stood out going into the game was you only had 3 outside linebackers, at least listed. How do you think that management went? And it seemed like Hamilton was playing a little more on the edge. I know he's done it occasionally, but how do you think that all went?
Well, I don't know if that's really related. Kyle would have been on the edge no matter how many outside linebackers we had. That's kind of where we've went since we brought in Lowe. The 3 outside backers I thought did a great job, and they carried a heavy load. They played excellent. We also had Trent on the edge. You may have noticed that too. So we had a package where Trent became an outside backer as well, doing some things that he excels at. So he was the 4th piece there. To your point, they did really well.
Is it possible that Carl Lawson gets elevated this week?
It is possible. It's possible. Yeah, we'll be talking about that probably today and tomorrow.
Go ahead, Josh.
John, you have consecutive games now with takeaways. What do you think's clicking defensively just now that you're able to make those impacts?
Well, I mean, so much of that is just putting pressure on the offense. Putting pressure on the quarterback, putting pressure on the ball carriers, the receivers. You create enough tension to put them on their heels and just put them in tough spots, and the ball comes your way. So, but we need more of that. We certainly, even what we've had, we want more. So that's the difference. I mean, that's what wins you games, and we need to, that's something to create those disruptive plays on defense is really a big goal.
John, we're coming up on the halfway point in the year. Is that kind of a good enough time frame for you to evaluate this rookie class? And I guess are there kind of benchmarks that you look for them to hit as they kind of get their feet underneath them?
You don't really think of it that way. It's not really a scale in terms of grading the class versus other classes or the benchmarks. It's just trying to get each individual player, as far down the road as you can to contribute whatever they can in that game. I think of a guy like Keontae. He's going out there and playing the way he's playing on special teams, and he's just dominating. He's flying around. He's making plays, and so you work with him, and you work with somebody like Malachi, who's doing it at safety, and just try to work, the development process, and because you want them to bring as much to the table as they possibly can, right now. That's the goal.
John, did you get out of that game yesterday on the short week? Get out of there okay physically? Were there any new injury concerns? And particularly with Stan and Ronnie?
With Ronnie's okay. Yeah, nothing along those lines that should be a problem for Thursday. I say that, because, it's still only less than 24 hours. But we should be okay.
What are preparations like for you for this week? I mean, because it's so, again, dense. How much are you able to get in? What are you able to get in?
Well, we have a program. I mean, it's just a different type of a schedule. You try to get everything in preparation-wise. There's just not as much physical type of movement. It's much more of a mental type deal. And then they got to get their bodies right. I mean, rest, recovery, sleep, all those things are really important.
John, I think Miami kind of leaned into some 6 offensive linemen looks on Sunday, obviously with you guys playing with a lot of nickel. Is that something that is even more challenging just because of the kind of size disadvantage that presents?
Well, I'm sure they'll do it. They put number 64 at the center. He's out there blocking and does a real nice job, real athletic guy. We noticed that they did lean into that, and they helped their run game quite a bit. So, yeah, we've seen it before. It's something we definitely have to contend with, especially if we're in lighter group.
There was some statement Keaton Mitchell made just with his readiness and
I thought he made a big statement. I just really did. You know, it's great to see, and he's been working hard, and he got his chance. You know, and it was just he proved to be ready for it. You know, and the time was right, and we just got to keep building on that going forward.